This episode of Beyond the Backyard is brought to you by Ultimate Archery and Outdoors, Ultimate Deer Products, Edutrax Incorporated, Red Light Flue Pot Seed Company, Tacticam, and by Jay's Sporting Goods.
Welcome back to Beyond the Backyard, the podcast where we dive into everything hunting, fishing, and the outdoors right here in Michigan. I'm your host, Steve Kredovic, and today we're breaking down all of the changes for the 2025 Michigan deer season. Now, in previous podcast episodes, we have talked about different aspects of the changes, but I wanted to put an episode out there that really covers all of them in one place. Now, whether you're a seasoned hunter who's been in the woods for decades, or maybe this is your first season stepping out into the woods with a tag in your pocket, these changes affect all of us. And let me tell you, the Michigan DNR has given us plenty to talk about this year. We're going to be covering the antlerless firearm expansions, extended archery opportunities, changes to the muzzleloader season, youth hunt updates, APR restrictions up north, and of course, the mandatory harvest reporting that's sticking around for good. So grab your coffee, or if you're driving up north while listening, crank up the volume. Let's get into it. Let's start with one of the biggest changes this year, expanded antlerless firearm seasons. So here's the deal. Starting October 1st, the early and late antlerless firearm seasons are now open on both private and public lands in the Lower Peninsula. Before this, these seasons were basically a private land deal. If you had a chunk of ground or permission from a landowner, you were good. But if you were hunting state land, you didn't have these opportunities. Now, this opens the door for guys and gals hunting state game areas, public parcels, or even federal lands downstate. But what does this mean for life? It means more flexibility. It means if you're looking to fill the freezer, you've got more chances. And some of the hunters are thrilled about more opportunity, especially for meat hunters. Others are a little nervous, wondering if this is going to put a little more pressure on public land deer herds. Especially, I think this is a tool, like any tool, it's how hunters use it that matters. Use it responsibly, and it can help balance deer numbers in high-density areas. It's hard to find good land out there to hunt. People that had acts of land at one period in time, now that's been given away. Farmers are selling off their land to different people. Properties change hands multiple times. So what maybe you had private land to hunt a couple years ago, and now you're forced to hunt public land. This really does kind of equal the playing field for everybody. I think whether you own land in Michigan or not, as a hunter, you should still have the same rights to the same hunts here in this great state of Michigan. Now, next up, we're going to talk about the extended seasons. If you're an archery hunter, you're going to love this. Archery season now runs through January 1st, 2026 in certain counties. But let me read off the list so you know if you're in one of these counties. Huron, Kent, Lapeer, Montcalm, Oakland, Sanilac, St. Clair, Tuscola, Washtenaw, and Wayne. Basically, it's a chunk of southern Michigan and metro Detroit areas. What this means is bow hunters in those counties can go almost an extra month. Imagine chasing a late season buck with snow on the ground in late January. That's a whole different ball game. Deer are pressured, food is scarce, and patterns change. It's tough. Now, the late season firearm season is also getting stretched. Normally it's mid-December through New Year's, but now it runs through December 15th through January 1st. Then again, January 2nd through January 11th, 2026. That's extended for both public and private lands across Lower Peninsula, with exceptions to DMUs 115, 145, and 245. So basically, if you're trying to put venison in the freezer after the holidays, you got a little extra window there. Instead of sitting at home watching football, you can still be out there with a rifle. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a win to me. All right, let's talk the muzzleloader season. Now, this one might get some people fired up. Traditionally, muzzleloader is just that. Black powder rifles, maybe an inline with sabots, but still that primitive weapon flavor. Well, this year in zones 2 and 3 during muzzleloader season, which is December 5th through the 14th of 2025, you can now use any legal firearm to hunt during muzzle season. So rifle, shotgun, whatever's legal for deer. So what does this mean? Well, to some folks, it kind of erases the whole uniqueness of muzzleloader season. To others, especially those just want opportunity, it's awesome. Less equipment to buy, more flexibility. I get both sides. There's tradition versus practicality. But the DNR is looking at more hunter participation, management goals, and probably declining muzzleloader-specific license sales. This opens up the season to more people, and in the end, that's what it's all about, keeping hunters engaged. But at the same point, I truly believe it should be left just muzzleloaders. I understand they're trying to get more people in the woods. I understand that they're trying to encourage more deer to be shot to lower the numbers. But at the end of the day, there's something special about muzzleloader season. There's a quiet period where people actually get to relax. Now, and another thing, it used to be a good week or more after the end of firearm deer season, but now they seem to have it almost right after the end of firearm deer season. So there's never that good lull in people being in the woods to really let the deer calm down, which really affects as far as what you're going to see. A lot of the deer are still nocturnal coming in that first week of December, just all the pressure during firearm deer season. So I really do not like this overall, being able to be out there with a rifle or shotgun or muzzleloader. Why even at that point call it muzzleloader season? I mean, it's completely stupid. Call it extended firearm deer season if you're going to call it anything. If you're going to let any weapon be used, why are you still calling it muzzleloader season? It just blows my mind, the constant decisions that are made. Ones like this. I mean, you got the DNR and the NRC that get a lot of flack, and some is warranted, and some they don't deserve. But when they do stuff like this, where you call a season muzzleloader season, but hey, you can use any weapon you want. Just plain stupidity on every level for this hunt. Right now, so we've talked about this before, but here's a change I really like: the Liberty and the Independence hunt. The Liberty hunt, that's September 13th to the 14th. Is youth and hunters with disabilities. The Independence hunt, October 16th through the 19th, is similar. In the past, these were more restricted. So they had changed it after last year was going to be the last year they're going to be able to shoot a buck. Now, during this past summer here, they have changed it back. You can shoot bucks during the Liberty and Independent hunts. Now, you get a lot of guys out there going to talk about them and say that it's taking out the mature bucks. It's not given as far as for the kids. They're saying that it's spoiling them. They're not earning the right. They're not getting that love because they're going out there shooting a monster. Well, I've had hundreds upon hundreds of pictures sent in since 2019 to our page, Michigan Outdoor Obsession. And I haven't had a ton of 130-inch, 150-inch bucks sent in to our page. I've had year-and-a-half-olds, 2.5-olds. Yeah, you might get an occasional monster buck, but it's been maybe 10, maybe a dozen at the most in 6 years of doing the page that were just complete monsters. For the most part, they've been just a 2.5-year-old, maybe a 3.5-year-old buck, and then you got your year-and-a-half-old. So for these people out there saying that these kids, all these youth hunters are just shooting all these monster bucks, it's not correct. And we've looked at the statistics of it legitimately through the Liberty hunt, and that including the vets and the kids. Only 2% of the total bucks shot each season come from that hunt. 2%, which is a sliver of the amount of bucks that are shot during the season. So for people to say that they're taking all the bucks during the Liberty hunt is complete hogwash, and there's no facts behind it. Nothing fires up a young hunter more than having a chance at a buck. Doesn't have to be a giant. Forkhorn can be a hunt of a lifetime for a kid. And now, whether you're hunting private or public, Upper Peninsula or Lower Peninsula land, your kid can have a shot at a buck, just like they have been. So I'm very happy that this rule got changed back. You're going to have people that hate it both ways. That's what it's come down to in this state. It doesn't matter what the rule is. It doesn't matter what the regulation is. You're always going to have two people that have two vastly different opinions about it, whether they like it or hate it. Also, another change that came down this year, for the first time in more than a decade, hunters in the Upper Peninsula can shoot antlerless deer during the archery season, which runs October 1st to November 14th and December 1st to January 1st. That is awesome. For many years, I know people have been wanting to shoot does up there, and the numbers have definitely increased. So now the DNR is letting people take antlerless deer during the archery seasons in the UP. Big news for all the hunters up there that are looking to put some meat in the freezer. But the bottom line is that this is about deer management in the UP. The herd up there faces unique challenges between harsh winters, the predators, the habitats. When we talked to Jordan Hoover, they used to have 130 places that they'd winter up in. Now they were down to like 30 out of 130 wintering yarding areas. So their habitat has largely decreased over the years. And finally, a little reminder for people out there. I know we're going to have a lot of hate about this. People think it's stupid, but there is a mandatory harvest reporting that's still taking place. Now, if you love it or hate it, it's not going anywhere right now. If you shoot a deer, you've got to report it. Personally, I think it's not a bad thing. It gives us real-time data, and the days of waiting for months of the harvest estimates are over. Now we got more accurate info that helps us with decision-making, whether it's season lengths or bag limits or herd management. It takes literally 5 minutes on your phone. It's not that big of a deal, and it keeps us from losing opportunities in the future. I mean, would you rather have the DNR and the NRC make these judgments based on straight guesses? Or would you rather have them know the numbers? I honestly don't see why people get in such a fit about it to just tell them you shot a deer. I mean, it's not a huge deal. Hey, I shot $2 in a doe. You know, and that way they really get an accurate number of what's going on each season, the counties, the deer density, how many deer have been taken. I mean, let's give them all the information so maybe their decisions they make will be a little smarter, a little more educational based, rather than them just out there guessing and making these decisions, which we've obviously seen over the years that hasn't worked. So there you have it. The big changes for the 2025 Michigan deer season: expanded antlerless firearm opportunities, extended archery and late antlerless firearm hunts, muzzleloader flexibility, youth buck opportunities, new APR restrictions in the UE, and of course, mandatory harvest reporting. Overall, I think these changes reflect where we're at as far as hunters in the great state of Michigan. There's fewer hunters. There's more need for flexibility and a strict focus on herd management. As always, as we know in hunting, there's going to be people that love it and there's going to be people that hate it. But hey, that's what we had to talk about at deer camp. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Shoot me a message. Leave me a comment below. Don't forget to hit the sub button and notification bell so you don't miss any of our new episodes we have coming up. And just tell me what you think about these changes. Do you see them as good for hunting, bad for tradition, somewhere in between? That's it for today's episode of Beyond the Backyard. Thanks for hanging out with me, and good luck this season. Hunt safe, hunt smart. Remember, it's not just about the harvest, it's about the experience. Until next time, I'll see you in the woods.